Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So everyone can raise their hands up in the air. We are calling out for the mercy of Shri Shri Radha Golokanda. So let's once again chant very loudly the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Shri Shri Radha Golokananda ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna. So those who are are chanting here for the first time, or you're not doing this on a regular basis, we encourage everyone at least 10 minutes every day, particularly morning is the best time. Take those 10 minutes in the morning and chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. It is so powerful, it will transform your life. So Hare Krishna Maha Mantra we chant loudly. If you want, we can give you beads for chanting, and you can take beads, and every day at least 10 minutes of mantra meditation with the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So if anyone is interested, you can let me know, and then we can give you beads for chanting. Okay, so a few announcements, and then we'll move on to our class. First of all, we have a request for a prayer, and this is from Mother Dukhantri. Maybe a few of you know her. She actually had a seizure and a stroke earlier. So we are requesting everyone, you can offer our prayers, pray to Shri Shri Radha Golokanda. She has done so much service for this community. So we pray to Lord Narasimhadev, Shri Shri Radha Golokanda, that they give her special protection during this time. So let's chant the Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Also today's Sunday feast has been prepared by the Nitai Padakamala group, headed by Haripad Prabhu and Goloka Vasini Mataji and the whole team from the Bhakti Vish in Holy Spring. So we'd like to thank them for their service. So let's give them a big Hari Bol. Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Also today we have the feast is sponsored by a family who would like to remain anonymous. But we'll still offer our prayers. Shri Shri Radha Golokanda knows them. So let's chant. We're chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, praying for this family. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Oh yeah. Yeah. Also, Mother Tulsi, many of you know, her sister just passed away just this afternoon, like just few hours before. So we'll offer our prayers also for her. So let's chant. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Okay, so also every year we have these event calendars for the entire year, all our main events, our main festivals. So we have printed sufficient copies, one per family. Please take a copy, put it on your fridge or a prominent location, and it has the main events for the entire year. So you can plan your calendar, your travel plans based on our main festivals. And also this year, Janmashtami is our 40th year of Janmashtami. So we'll be having a very special celebration, and also this year, Janmashtami is on a Saturday. Haribo! So it's going to be very special. So all the dates are on this calendar. Every family, please take a calendar. We have many copies. I'll be downstairs near the prasadam table. You can take a copy, and please put it on your fridge or somewhere where you can keep track of all the events. And also we have an online version, a Google Calendar that you can import on your phone. So we'll be sending out the links maybe tonight or tomorrow, and you can add that to your phone. So on your phone also you will have the entire Google Calendar. Okay. Coming up in our events, this Tuesday, day after tomorrow, is the appearance of Srila Advait Acharya. So this is actually the season of the Pancha Tattva. So this Tuesday evening, we'll have a simple program starting at 6:30. And there'll be like potluck prasadam at 8 p.m. So there'll be kirtan, we'll be reading from Chaitanya Charitamrita, have some discussion on Advait Acharya, and 8 p.m. will be prasadam. So please do join us this Tuesday. And then next Monday, so 8 days from now, is the appearance day of Shri Nityananda Prabhu Ki. This is one of the most ecstatic festivals of the year. Nityananda Prabhu is Balaram himself, who appeared 500 years before. And this is one of the festivals that you just come and you can feel the mercy and the bliss flowing. So very, very special day. So it is February 10th. So next Monday, we'll have an evening program. It starts at 4:30 with bhajans. 5 o'clock we'll have class. We'll have a big Maha Abhishek, lots of kirtan. We'll have some cultural performances and then dinner prasadam. So please mark your calendar, February 10th for Nityananda Trayodashi. Okay. It starts at 4:30 with bhajans and 5 o'clock will be the talk in the evening. Yes, and the morning we'll have a regular program, and then morning 6:30 a.m. mostly Mother Urmila will be giving class on Nityananda Trayodashi. So that'll also be amazing. So you can also tune in online 6:30 a.m. for class by Mother Urmila. Okay. Okay, so those are announcements. So we'll move on to the next part of the program. Again, we would like to warmly welcome His Grace Jagat Purush Prabhu. He's a very senior disciple of Srila Prabhupada, and he's done amazing decades of service at the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada for ISKCON. And like if you just hear his stories, our hairs will stand on end what services he has done. So let's warmly welcome His Grace Jagat Purush Prabhu, who will be giving a talk today. Haribo! So we request everyone kindly come forward. We always have more devotees come during the class. 25.
I recognize that. Nice. Looks good on you. Jai. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivardhari Yasoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yasoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Thira Bonachari Jamuna Thira Bonachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Pallava Girivaridhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Pallava Girivaridhari. Dasura Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Dasura Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Bonachari. Yamuna Tira Bonachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Pallava Girivaridhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Pallava Girivaridhari. Dasura Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Dasura Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Bonachari. Yamuna Tira Bonachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Janiti Lila Parvishnu Vishnupad Paramahansa Parvachakacharya Asatya Satyashi Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Niti Lila Parvishnu Vishnupad Paramahansa Parvachakacharya Asatya Satyashi Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Ananti Gaudi Vaishnava Vrindi Ki Jai Namacharya Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Premchi Goho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrindi Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gogovanas Chamakunda Radha Kundagiri Govardhana Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Mathura Dham Ki Jai Shri Dauri Mayapur Dham Ki Jai Gangamayi Jamunamayi Ki Jai Shrimati Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai Shri Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samaveda Bhakta Vrindi Ki Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai Shri Grantaraj Bhagavad Gita Ki Shri Prabhupada Ki Gaur Premanande. Oh, glorious the assembled devotees. Oh, glorious the assembled devotees. Oh, glorious the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasaya Gurule Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Padacharani Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Pastida Jastada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. So I was just thinking, while we were having the kirtan, I was looking around and feeling very strongly, from time to time, I'm sure it happens with all of us, we get these sparks of realization. So the spark of realization that I got is that this is the future of the world. And the reason that's true is because the process is true. The process is real. The process works. The process is powerful. And there is no other process. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Bhaktyamam abhijananti yavanyaschatmi tatvataha tatomam tatvato gyatva vishite tat anantaram. By devotional service alone can one come to the stage of perfection, come to the stage of pure Krishna consciousness, pure unalloyed devotional service to God, to Krishna, to come to the stage of surrender to Krishna, which is the purpose of human life. And so I'm witnessing this process in action, and it's very exciting to see, very exciting. So I've picked a verse which at a glance might seem, gosh, this is sounds a little boring, because it talks about impersonalism, which is in itself quite boring. But there is a reason for having picked this verse, and I will reveal that in the course of time. So let's chant the verse. This is the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, text number 5. Klesho dikaratas tesham avyakta sakta chetasam avyakta hi gatir dukam deha vadbir avapyate. So we'll go through the word by word so we can understand what each word means. Kleshaha, trouble. Adhikartara, very much. Tesham, of them. Avyakta, to the unmanifested. Asakta, attached. Chetasam, of those whose minds. Avyakta, toward the unmanifested. He, certainly. Gatihi, progress. Dukham, with trouble. Dehavadbi, by the embodied. Avyapate, is achieved. Translation: for those whose minds are attached to the unmanifest, impersonal feature of the Supreme, advancement is very troublesome. To make progress in that discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied. So you all can repeat. For those whose minds are attached, to the unmanifested, impersonal feature of the Supreme, advancement is very troublesome. To make progress in that discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The group of transcendentalists who follow the path of the inconceivable, unmanifested, impersonal feature of the Supreme Lord are called Jnana Yogis. And persons who are in full Krishna consciousness engaged in devotional service to the Lord are called Bhakti Yogis. Now here the difference between Jnana Yoga and Bhakti Yoga is definitely expressed. The process of Jnana Yoga, although ultimately bringing one to the same goal, is very troublesome, whereas the path of Bhakti Yoga the process of being in direct service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is easier and is natural for the embodied soul. The individual soul is embodied since time immemorial. It is very difficult for him to theoretically understand that he is not the body. Therefore, the bhakti yogi accepts the deity of Krishna as worshipable because there is some bodily conception fixed in the mind which can thus be applied. Of course, worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his form within the temple is not idol worship. There is evidence in the Vedic literature that worship may be saguna and nirguna of the Supreme, possessing or not possessing attributes. Worship of the deity in the temple is saguna worship, for the Lord is represented by material qualities. But the form of the Lord, though represented by material qualities such as stone, wood, or oil paint, is not actually material. That is the absolute nature of the Supreme Lord. So in the interest of time, this is a longer purport, but I think I'll just say a few things at this point. So in the early days of the Hare Krishna movement, back in the 60s, late 60s, early 70s, Srila Prabhupada spoke very, very often about impersonalism, and specifically about Mayavad philosophy. So, as explained here, impersonalism is worship of the unmanifested feature of the Supreme Lord. But there are different kinds of impersonalists. There are those very sincere seekers of the truth who are not ready, for whatever reason, culturally, psychologically, not ready to approach their Lord directly through his deity form or in a direct personal way. So they will recognize that the Lord's energy, called Brahman, is superior to this material energy, and a sincere seeker of the truth will recognize that this world is temporary, it is full of miseries, it is full of suffering because of birth, death, old age, disease. Nobody can escape these. We have, flickers of happiness here and there, which Srila Prabhupada explained is not happiness at all, but is simply a temporary alleviation of pain. That's what we call happiness in this material world. There's no material happiness. Because as long as we're identifying falsely with this material body and trying to enjoy through this material body all of the pleasures that we're acquiring are related to the body, experienced by the senses, and they're projected onto this temporary world. The world is temporary, the body is temporary. Therefore, this sensation of pleasure is also temporary, and temporary is a definition of something that's unreal. If it's temporary, it's unreal. Unreal in the sense that something real has to endure, and something which is simply flickering is like a dream. It may manifest in a material, something you can hold in your hand, but it comes and it goes. That's what happens with the dream. So do we say that our dreams are real? No, they're there, they feel real, they seem real, we're experiencing them in our dream state, but when we wake up, we realize, oh, that wasn't real. That wasn't real. So this approach of a sincere seeker of the truth to come away from the suffering condition and to realize the higher energy of the Lord, there's nothing wrong with that. But Srila Prabhupada explains, Krishna explains here, Srila Prabhupada elaborates, that it is a very troublesome path, is a very difficult path. There is another school of the impersonalists who are called Mayavadis. Now that's a different story. They are also impersonalists. But they are inspired by the teachings of Shankaracharya, who is a great personality, but who had a specific mission to bewilder the population of the world. Shankaracharya is Lord Shiva himself. He's the incarnation of Lord Shiva. He was instructed by the Lord to preach this Mayavad philosophy, that we are, in fact, Krishna, and that the deity of Krishna, the personality of Krishna, are temporary manifestations of Brahman. It's a very dangerous philosophy. But there is a purpose. And sometimes we need to stand back and see a bigger picture in order to understand how Krishna is manipulating things in order to come to bring the living entities as his mission. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata bhutanama dharmasya tadatmanam shrijam yaham. From time to time Krishna comes in order when there is a diminution of religious principles and an increase of irreligiosity, Krishna comes. He comes in many forms, he comes in many ways, and he comes with many different strategies. So in this particular case, the strategy with Shankaracharya was to drive out Buddhism, but there was also a purpose of Buddhism, because Buddha himself is another incarnation of the Lord, a Shaktavash avatar. And because the followers of the Vedas were misusing the Vedas and were actually slaughtering animals in the name of Vedic rituals. So Buddha came and he said that this is not right. You should forget about the Vedas. Just follow me. So enough segment of people, because there's another thought that I had today related to what I'm about to say, that because Lord Buddha was so powerful, so pure, he established a very substantial following who gave up the Vedic culture, the Vedic literatures. I wouldn't say the Vedic culture, but certainly the Vedic teachings, became and followed ahimsa. Because Lord Buddha, Srila Prabhupada revealed, the primary purpose was out of compassion for the animals that were being slaughtered, and also for the people who were suffering because of the misuse of the Vedic literatures. And it was necessary in order to draw people away from the Vedic path in order to realign the spiritual progress of humanity. So this Buddhism lasted for some 1,000 years before Shankaracharya arrived. By the time Shankaracharya arrived, there was need, generations had passed, there was need then of reintroducing the Vedic system. So Shankaracharya reintroduced the Vedic system, but just as it is explained that when Jesus came, he could not give the full knowledge of the absolute truth. He said it himself, that I have more to tell, but you're not ready to hear. So similarly, Shankaracharya, he introduced the Veda culture, but he introduced it in an impersonal way. People were not ready for the personal aspect, those who had been influenced by Buddhism. So then Shankaracharya became his following became very well established in India. Then, 1,000 years later, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared. Krishna again came in order to set the alignment in perfect state, which was to drive out the impersonalism of Shankaracharya, the Mayavad philosophy that Brahman is supreme above all, and because we are all Brahman, everything is equal, everything is one. So you're Krishna, I'm Krishna, therefore Narayan, Narayan, Narayan Namaha. We're addressing each other as Narayan. We're all Narayan, we're all Krishna. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and said that this Mayavad philosophy is spiritual suicide. And to adopt the philosophy of Mayavad is worse than embracing a wild tiger. It is that bad. So this is why Srila Prabhupada, in keeping with the parampara from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came and he drove out a large part of his mission was to drive out impersonalism, shunyavad, and paschatya shunyavad, to take the message to the Western world and to drive out impersonalism. So Srila Prabhupada spoke very often about the dangers of this impersonalist philosophy. And of course, he introduced what Lord Chaitanya introduced, which was as Adityanarayan Prabhu explained, is the Yuga Dharma, the spiritual path, the process for this age of Kali Yuga. And why are we in need of such a simple system? Well, there are a number of reasons. One is that we have very short lives. Our lives compared to the previous ages is like the life of a fly in compared to a human being. It's very, very quick. We have very, very little time. We don't have time to sit in silent meditation for hundreds and hundreds of years, as was the case in previous ages. We don't have the capacity to have the elaborate yagyas that were recommended back in Dwapara Yuga. We don't have the capacity for the elaborate focus on deity worship. We have deity worship, but the deity worship was the primary means of self-realization in the Treta Yuga. But in Kali Yuga, it is said, Manda sumanda matiyo, manda bhagya hubhadrataha. That in this age, we are short-lived, we are quarrelsome, we are misguided, and above all, always disturbed. It is the nature of the conditioned souls of Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga is a very dangerous age. It's a very degraded age. And if anybody in this room thinks differently, you're not opening your eyes. Because it's all around us. It's such a very, very dangerous age, so degraded, and becoming more and more so all the time. But Lord Chaitanya appeared in this world to lift us from the dangers of this age, the degradation of this age, and he gave us a process which is so simple and yet has the same potency as all of the processes that were given in the previous ages. All the way back to Satya Yuga, many, hundreds of thousands of years ago, over 1 million years ago, well over 1 million years ago, when people were actually living 100,000 years, and the process was meditation. And a lifetime of meditation could bring you to perfection of spiritual enlightenment and awareness of the existence of the personality of Godhead and what is our relationship with God, and to engage in that relationship and to go back home, back to Godhead. That is the perfection. And that was achieved in the golden age of Satya Yuga. And the same could be achieved by these other methods that I mentioned. But in Kali Yuga, we have such short lives, we are so disturbed, we have so many bad qualities. So Krishna appears as the holy name. It is called the Nam Avatar. Krishna, the name of Krishna is Krishna. Just as the deity of Krishna is Krishna. And when we are chanting this holy name, Srila Prabhupada said that Krishna is dancing on our tongues. So, in this process, so as I was saying, this very process of the chanting of the Maha Mantra is as powerful, as potent as all these other processes, and has the capacity to bring you very quickly to the stage of perfection. And in a lecture that Srila Prabhupada was once giving, I believe it was in Australia, someone from the audience asked, how long does it take with this process to achieve the perfection? So everybody was waiting for Prabhupada's answer. How long does it take? Prabhupada said, 1 minute. 1 minute. Depending on our sincerity, depending on our determination, depending upon our hunger, our desire, our hankering. So the process is complete in every way. Krishna is complete. Om Purnam Adapurni Om Purnam Adaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnam Udachate Purnasya Purnam Adaya Purnam Eva Vishishate. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is complete, and all emanations from Him are complete units in themselves. And even though they are coming from Him, He remains a complete whole. We are complete. Krishna has created us as complete wholes, and He has given us a complete and perfect process. And His instructions are complete and perfect. And if we follow Krishna's instructions, which are given in detail in literatures like the Bhagavad Gita, then our perfection will be achieved in completeness, depending on how much we desire it. And the intensity of desire, that also can be achieved by the same process. Everything, that's how it is so complete. Everything is achieved by if you have no desire or very slim desire for Krishna consciousness, but you have some inquisitiveness. So, try this experiment. Like was mentioned, 10 minutes a day. Just chant 10 minutes a day. See if you feel anything. Just give it a try. And if you do that sincerely, without arguing in your mind about it, convincing yourself as you're chanting, this isn't going to work, this isn't going to work, then you'll create problems for yourself. You have to have some faith. You have to have some faith. And I think that if you're sitting here today listening to this talk on the Bhagavad Gita, means that you have faith. Everyone in this room has faith. And it is the faith that will bring us to the stage of perfection. There's a verse in the Upanishad, I believe it's Katha Upanishad. Yasya Bhaktir, what is it? Yasya Bhaktir, Pado, No, Yasya Bhaktir, Tata, Here, Yata Devi, Tasyaite Katita Hyarta Prakasante Mahatmanaha. Thank you. So, by having complete faith in the Guru, in the real Guru, the pure devotee, by having complete faith in the Guru and complete faith in God, in Krishna, personality of Godhead, all of the imports of the Vedic literatures will automatically be revealed within the heart. This process is so powerful. even if you haven't read a word, if you have simply complete faith in the spiritual master and the personality of Godhead, then all of the truths that are contained within all the Vedic literatures will be revealed to you. All the pastimes of the Lord are contained within the Mahamantra. All the qualities of the Lord are contained in that Mahamantra. Everything is there. It is a perfect process. So, Srila Prabhupada he put his life into convincing us in the early days, those of us who had no idea who is Krishna, no idea of this Veda culture, no idea of anything, and yet we knew that we were unhappy with the lives that we had. We knew that there was something better, and we were searching. Everybody in that generation were searching for some alternative to a life that seemed so artificial. And so Srila Prabhupada came, and in addition to giving this process and giving us the teachings, giving us the Bhagavad Gita, he constantly warned us against that which we had been so deeply influenced by in our growing up. And that's this impersonalism. Because what does impersonalism do? What does impersonalism do? It turns to gross materialism. Because impersonalism will convince you that you are the enjoyer. If everything is one, I'm Krishna, you're Krishna, we're all the enjoyers, then you'll start enjoying. What do we have? What is our instrument for enjoyment? It's this material body. It's all we've got, right? So we go through life enjoying. But what's the result of enjoying in this material world? The result is suffering. Sukha and dukkha. Happiness and distress. It's a constant in this material world. And that simply leads to a continuous further attachment, further entanglement, further bewilderment, and then we falsely identify with I'm American, I'm Indian, I'm black, I'm white, I'm this religion, that religion, and it's all false. And by that misidentification, we are forced by our conditioned consciousness to take birth again in another body in keeping with our state of consciousness. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam chyachatyante kalevaram. Whatever we think of at the time of death, that state of being we will achieve in our next life. And so this just continues on and on and on. The pure devotee sees those of us who are in this, like a hamster running on his wheel, running, but going nowhere. And the pure devotees, they feel so much compassion because they are transparent representatives of the personality of Godhead, and we are God's children. And He does not want us to remain here and suffer. He wants us back. He wants us back, and He's doing everything to bring us back. But He does not take away our free will. That's part of His love for us. He does not force us. It's up to us. If we want to try to enjoy separately from Him, He will provide the means to do that, which is what this whole material world is. And so, let us try to appreciate the great fortune that we have, that Srila Prabhupada has told us what is the path to truth, and what are the obstacles that will stand in our way towards truth. So, on a philosophical basis, on a mental basis, on a physical basis, sensual basis, there are many, many obstacles. And those obstacles are under the control of the three modes of material nature. Sattvagun, Rajagun, and Tamagun. The mode of goodness, the mode of passion, and the mode of ignorance. And everything is under the control of three modes. And the three modes of nature are all under the control of the personality of Godhead. But he deputes his agents to oversee the actions of the three modes of material nature, and basically she is called Maya. She is Maya, Durga Devi. She has a thankless task to keep the living entities who are imprisoned within this material world, imprisoned in this material world because of our actions. And it's not that she is encouraging our imprisonment, but she has the thankless task to maintain the prison as long as we're here. Once we understand that we're not in heaven, we are in hell, we are in the material world, we are in this place which is not, as mentioned by the Acharyas, it is not a place for a gentleman or a gentlewoman. It is not our natural place. It is a very unnatural place. Once we realize that this is a prison house, and we are prisoners because of our misdeeds, and we rectify ourselves, hearing from the higher authorities how to rectify ourselves, we apply the process sincerely and repetitively, haituki apritiyata, without so what haituki is, what does it mean? Unmotivated, without motivation, without false motivation, without motivation, and without and unending. It has to be unending. So when we become serious in our spiritual lives, then we will apply this in the way it's meant to be applied, without motivation and without deviation and without offense also. So I think we come to an end of time-wise? 10 more minutes, okay. So this is why, even though speaking about impersonalism is a negative side, but it's such an important aspect so that we are very much aware. You cannot deal with an enemy without identifying who the enemy is. And the enemy is within. It's within our own mind and within our own hearts. And so the chanting of this Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, is the method for cleansing the heart and the mind. As Srila Prabhupada said, the first thing I ever personally heard Srila Prabhupada say, San Francisco, 1967, Srila Prabhupada was on a stage in front of about 2,000 young people. And he said that this Mahamantra will cleanse the heart of all the dust accumulated for many, many lifetimes. These were his words. So this is the effect of the chanting of the holy name, is we become purified, because without becoming purified, we cannot approach the Supreme Pure. We are part and parcel of the Supreme Pure. That means that by nature we are pure, but we are covered. We are non-different from Krishna, not in the Mayavadi way, but we are non-different from Krishna as a drop of ocean is non-different from the ocean. There's no difference in quality. There's a great difference in quantity. But in quality, we are non-different from Krishna. Think of that. Each and every one of us individually, we have all the qualities of Krishna, but they're covered because we're infinite. We are finite. He is infinite. And because of our infinitesimal condition, we are subject to fall down. And we have fallen down. But although we have all fallen down, otherwise we wouldn't be here, we are all ascending, all of us, together, individually and together. We're ascending back home, back to Godhead by the power of this amazing process of devotional service. So I think I'll stop here, and maybe if there are any comments or any questions or any additions, please feel free. Yes, Prabhu. I haven't seen you for years. Where have you been?
I don't know,
But nice to see you anyway.
yeah, I had a question. You said it's like hell on earth here, it's like prison now. Well, we experience that we have good days and then we have bad days. So how's it so bad?
How's it so bad? Yeah, sometimes, you get, because of good behavior, you might be able to spend some time in the A-class prison cell. And compared to the, B and C class prison cells, you feel, well, this is pretty nice. But you're still in prison. You're not free. Yes, Ru. Yes. So the unmanifested feature of Krishna is, as it says, a feature of Krishna. It's coming from Krishna. It's Krishna's energy. And it's described as the Brahma Jyoti, or the light of Krishna, the energy of Krishna. So the energy of Krishna is spiritual. And everything is residing. All existence resides within that energy. Even the Mahatattva, this whole material world, is within the Brahmajyoti. It's like Prabhupada explains, and the Vedas explain, a small corner of the spiritual world is this Mahatattva. It's like a clouded area where the rebellious living entities are imprisoned in order to rectify themselves and perfect themselves in order to come back to the spiritual world. So the unmanifested aspect of Krishna is impersonal. It's actually ultimately not impersonal, but that personal element, the personal reality, is only realized by following the personal path of devotional service, of service to the person Krishna. So his energies have many, many different functions. And one of those functions is to provide us, the material manifestations, how the creation, which is also described very briefly in the Bhagavad Gita, and more elaborately in the Srimad Bhagavatam, how the